Whether you are a current WagerTalk TV subscriber, a fan of the extensive amount of free betting information we release, or a client of one of our incredible lineup of handicappers at WagerTalk or Sports Memo, we thank you. Thanksgiving is a holiday loaded with traditions, and we started one of our traditions years ago. Get a 7-day all sports all access from any handicapper for just $69. That's under $10 per day and just $10 more than a 3-day all access. So whether you're traveling, have a house full of relatives, or just sitting back relaxing with an incredible week of sports, you can do so with the convenience of a 7-day pass. There is no coupon needed, and you can choose as many services as you'd like. This Thanksgiving special will be available through Cyber Monday, November 28th, all for just $69. Thank you again for being part of the WagerTalk and Sports Memo family.
Welcome, buddy. I'm Steve Merrill, filling in for Joe Raineri today on NBA Tip-Off. This day after Thanksgiving, Friday, November the 25th. The NBA took Thanksgiving off, so they are locked and loaded big time tonight. Huge card, fellas, for NBA basketball tonight on Friday. I'm joined by two of the best handicappers on the planet and at WagerTalk.com as well. Got the prop master, Andy Lang, going to look at some prop angles in these games tonight. And then, of course, I've got the pin, the human database himself, Stat Daddy. I was trying to remember the third nickname for you, Ralph Michaels. But Ralph Michaels is in on the NBA show tonight in a rare NBA sighting. Ralph dominates the NFL. He dominates the NBA. But, of course, you see him a lot on the college basketball show this time of year. And don't forget, these two gentlemen were with me earlier today on Wager Talk today at noon Eastern. Andy did some NFL props. Ralph did some college football and college basketball as well. So we're talking NBA, but get some of those other sports in that replay on Wager Talk today here on Wager Talk TV. And Andy, let me start off with you. How was your Thanksgiving? How was your turducken? I know the U.S. just tied England 0-0 in soccer. I'm sure you were watching that as well. And you are still ranked number one in women's basketball at WagerTalk.com. The prop master, hashtag diversify. Andy Lang, what you got going on at WagerTalk?
Actually, we just cashed another one. So now we're 17-3 for women's college basketball, and it's just been a wild ride on women's college basketball to start off. We cashed another 5% NFL last night, so those are by far the things that are working best for us right now is the college basketball and these best bets on NFL. They just keep cashing week in and week out. So one on NFL for 5% plays for this season by far. So it's a great NBA slate after no games. And I got to say, Ralph, did you just cash on Boise?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Oh my! All right, we talk about bad
I'm going to talk about it in a minute. So
yes, yeah. Well, take my time because this is a good beat. We talk about bad beat. This was a great beat. You have to hear this one, Steve. Incredible.
Let us know about it, Ralph. I'm dying to hear.
Well, the gambling gods taketh away and the gambling gods giveth. I started off the day having an early college basketball game on Siena against Ole Miss. And Siena was never not covering. They were plus 12. They were up by 6 at the half, and I ended up pushing the game. So at no point was Mississippi up 13 or more, and I ended up pushing the game. So then what happens? I have Boise a little bit later. Boise has an early 17-point lead in the first half, but in the fourth quarter, Boise is up 28-23 with 1:23 left, and they're at their own 10-yard line. So run the ball 2 times, and the game's over. They break off a 9-yard, up 35-23. Utah State then has 4th and 17. Last play of the game, a pick 6. So Boise with a 91-yard run and a pick 6 in the last 1 minute and 3 seconds to get a cover. So I thought I'd cover the basketball game. I didn't think I'd cover the college football game. I'm 2-0-1 to start off Friday, so happy to do that. Number 2 at Wager Talk and Profit the last 30 days. Number 1 in the NFL. This is on the season. My NFL is 69%. And number 1 at NBA for Wager Talk over the last 2 years. A lot of good things. Remember, $69 for 7-day all access with our Thanksgiving special.
And I know Andy Lang is on board already. He told us on that fabulous bowl package with you and Dave Koken. And once again, 7 days for $69. No promo code needed. Each and every capper, you can use it unlimited times. Basically, get the rest of November right now for just $69 at WagerTalk.com. Okay, boys, let's get to the contrarian call of the day. And the contrarian game, you don't have to wait long tonight to see it. It's the first game on the rotation. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's a 5:10 Eastern start here with the Charlotte Hornets. This tips off in less than an hour. A little bonus coverage for our live viewers here on NBA Tip-Off. Wide open 3.5, and now it's up to 6.5. A lot of locations. So a lot of money coming in on Minnesota Timberwolves as the road favorite at Charlotte. And Andy Lang, I'll start with you. Do you agree, disagree with the contrarians, and also maybe a little prop action in this game?
I'm going to be with the contrarian gods on this one. Minnesota is just not a team I trust. They look clunky. They look disorganized a lot of the time. I don't know who is supposed to be in charge of setting up their offense, but it doesn't seem to look like a well-oiled machine. And listen, Charlotte's bad. They are the worst offensive efficient team in the league. Minnesota is 8th best in defensive efficiency. So it's an uphill battle. Here's the case, though. The last 3 games for Charlotte, they won one of those games. They lost by only 4, and then they took a game to overtime. So the last 3 games, they have been in all of them. They won one of them and did good in the others. So that would be the case. But I'll take them just because I'm just not a Minnesota Timberwolves believer. I do have a prop that I like in this one, and it is for the Timberwolves. I think sets up beautifully for a big game from Karl Anthony Towns. I'll take his over 39.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He's been stacking up assists, he's been stacking up rebounds, and he's been stacking up points. So he's good in all of these categories. He's flown over this PRA total in 4 out of 5 games, and Charlotte is one of the worst defenses against center. They're a bottom 3 defensive team against this position. They give up 26, 16, and 4 to centers. Rudy Gobert is questionable right now. We'll check the 4:30 injury report. But even if he plays, he's a little bit nicked up. I just think this sets up really, really nice for a big game from Towns, who is one of the bright spots. He's been playing really well. I enjoy watching him. He does a lot of really good things. Every once in a while, he'll pull out the boneheaded Karl Anthony Towns play. But I really have a big game against a bad defensive team inside for Charlotte.
Anthony Towns usually saves after the playoffs, Andy. So this is a regular season game. We should be okay. It's a low-level NBA regular season
good
game.
Point.
So he most likely dominates tonight. Ralph, I don't remember the NBA taking Thanksgivings off until recent years, if I'm not mistaken. Like when we started 25, 30 years ago, I feel like they were playing. But an interesting angle to research at some point, to see how these teams respond after having a full day off, a holiday off. I bring that up also because Charlotte's coming off a rare win in their last game. They'd only won like one of the previous 11 games before that. Bad teams off a win sometimes regress. You got any angles on this game tonight?
I don't, but I do like Minnesota. Now, if Gobert's not going to play, I'm not going to play him. And it didn't make my card. But, I played against Minnesota a few times early because they played such a weak schedule. And when they were playing upper echelon foes, they didn't perform. The Towns Gobert mix and match really didn't click. But you look at what they did against Indiana. To me, that's a buy sign. Number one, well, you're not going to match what you did shooting 61% against the Pacers and allowing 38.5%. It's amazing they only won by 14 points. I mean, that's probably one of the top 10 best box scores you can have in the season. Let me repeat that. You shoot 61%, you allow 38.5%, and you only win by 14. Their problem is they're such a poor rebounding team, which you wouldn't think since they got Gobert. But hell, before last night's 50 rebound performance, they've only topped 40 rebounds one game in their previous 8. The problem is, though, Charlotte's not a good rebounding team. I look at Charlotte, they're off the upset win against Philly at home. And, I don't have the data on this, Steve, but there's oftentimes, I've talked to a few guys about this. When you're off a holiday, I much prefer the road team. The Charlotte Hornets were at home with their family and friends celebrating Thanksgiving. Minnesota, played at Indiana, now playing at Charlotte. It's a road trip. You have a bonding dinner, you're in the hotel, you're taking care of business, and that really is why look at these or those type of situations. To me, the road team is going to have a very popular opinion. So I'm going to go against the contrarians. Minnesota, 5 straight wins. They've only covered three of those 5. But the way the defense is playing, once this year, they've allowed over 50%. The defense is starting to play well, and you have all 5 players score in double figures. I love when multiple people can get the points. 3 players against Indiana had double-doubles. I am going to be a Minnesota Timberwolf buyer in the next week or two now that they're finally starting to mesh. Andy did mention that they were very uncohesive early. I think we're starting to see that improve.
Yeah, this is a Minnesota team that lost 6 out of 7 games at the end of October, first week of November. They've won 5 straight now, but on the season, they're just 7-11 against the number as opposed to 8-11 for the Bobcats, Charlotte. So this is a team that definitely has some upside still as far as point spread goes, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Once again, the contrarian call, the Charlotte Hornets, the former Charlotte Bobcats, the Hornets. That goes at 5:10 Eastern. Don't have to wait long to fade the public with Charlotte if you dare do so. If you dare to play against the contrarian gods, you'd be on Minnesota in this game. All right, let's look at a better game tonight. And Ralph, I'll come right back with you on the featured game here because it's your Cleveland Cavaliers against the Milwaukee Bucks, not Andy's Indiana Pacers involved in this one. But Cleveland, obviously the big offseason move, getting Mitchell, currently a 4-point dog here against the world champs from a couple years ago. Definitely one of the better games we've had so far this season in the NBA. It's a spotlight game tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern. These two teams, 24-11 combined straight up. 12-6 straight up, 12-6 against the number, Ralph. Meanwhile, Milwaukee, 12-5 straight up, 10-7 against the number. So they've not only been winning on the court, but they've been making money for the backers. Which way are you going in this one?
Well, Milwaukee, since they beat Minnesota and OKC back on November the 5th, have not won back-to-back games, and now they're off a loss. They lost to Atlanta, beat OKC. Lost to San Antonio, lost to Atlanta, beat Cleveland 113-98. But Cleveland was missing 2 starters in that game. So let's remember, Milwaukee was a 3.5-point home favorite back then, minus a couple starters. And in that game against Cleveland, they shot only 47%, but their defense held the Cavs with a limited lineup to 43%. There's no one playing better than the Cavs the last 4 games. And I'm a proponent of playing on the hot team. Let me some offensive numbers. Cavs the last 4 games have shot 53, 53, 60, and 55%. On the defensive side, 40%, 39%, 44%, and 45%. LeVert has missed a couple games. He's listed as questionable. Kevin Love has missed a couple games, but Love's not the same person he was with this team years ago. He's become an awesome mentor. He talks about how he loves coaching this big front line and playing defense, but he's really a 20-minute man now, so missing him isn't that much of a deal. Had I had both of those guys healthy, though, I would have been on Cleveland in this game in that revenge spot for that earlier loss. But being in that situation now, I am not going to back Cleveland. I'll certainly have an opinion on it, and I'll back the Cavs in this revenge role.
Andy Lang, what you looking to hear from a player prop perspective? We obviously, it's a spotlight national TV game, Friday night, and also obviously 2 teams with big name players. Do you see any big name props? You're going to kind of sneak in under the radar with some lesser known guys.
Going big names here. You have to take Donovan Mitchell over here. This was at 6.5 for his points. I see a couple of books have moved it up to 27.5, and he just keeps cashing these overs. He's 12-3 to the over on this point total so far this year. And you look at Milwaukee, they're just not – they rank good for defensive efficiency. They're one of the best, but not on the perimeter. DeRozan, Anthony Simons, Tyrese Maxey have all had really big games against this Milwaukee team recently. The Bucks are 13th worst right now in shooting guards. I know they were missing Holiday for a little bit, but they just don't have that tenacity that they have had. And I get it. from their perspective, you don't need to kill yourselves in the regular season. So they're a little bit more lax on the perimeter, it looks like, and I'm sure Donovan Mitchell is going to be excited to take advantage of that. I'm also going Giannis, but I'm not going over. I'm going under 30.5 points. He struggles against Mobley and Allen. They do a really good job against him. They played earlier this season. He only had 16 points, and Jared Allen didn't play in that game. And I went back to last year. He played in 2 games against Cleveland where Mobley and Allen played, and he only had 26 and 27. So he has not gotten to this 30-point mark when Cleveland has their 2 bigs in there. I think they just match up really well with them. Ralph did a good job talking about Kevin Love and how nice it is to have a guy like that, coaching and helping out with the inside guys. For whatever reason, Giannis really struggles against these guys. So you don't always have to take the over on these big name guys. I think this is a really good spot to cash a Giannis under tonight.
And I know you love in general playing unders in big name guys, spotlight games, because the public does normally come in on some overs. So keep an eye on that. Giannis prop might be a little bit higher near tip off at 8 o'clock Eastern. By the way, this is not the national TV game. I just checked. 8 o'clock Eastern, the New Orleans Memphis game is going to be your NBA TV, national TV, got spotlight game. So this game is not on there. Clipper Nuggets will be the late night spotlight game on NBA TV tonight. 28 teams playing tonight, 14 games on Friday. It's a loaded card. Be sure to check out all of our best bets at WagerTalk.com for Friday. But before you do so, a little overtime segment here. We love some big totals in college basketball. We love them even more in the NBA, though. And let's look at an overtime segment between Sacramento and Boston. Definitely a big total tonight, guys. And look, this one opened 234.5. The early money said, hell no, 238.5 is where it stands right now. So over a 2-basket increase, Andy, in the over-under on this one. Any thoughts on the total, and do you dare play any under props in this one, which should be a high-scoring game between the Kings and Celtics?
I do not have any under props on this one. I've got 2 overs, and I talked about him earlier, but Al Horford over 10.5 points. He's gone over in 8 out of his last 10 games. He had the horrible game against Chicago. He went 0 for 9 from the field. He had 0 points, but he came back with 14 points against Dallas. And Sacramento's just not great against good centers. They've gotten lucky with the teams that they've played who have not had good centers, but you look at some of these guys they played against. Clint Capella went over this total. Jared Allen had a good game. Bam Adebayo had a good game. Anthony Davis had a good game. So you go down the list, and by the numbers overall for the season, they have pretty good numbers against centers, but it's a little bit deceiving because they played a lot of teams without these dominant centers. So look for Al Horford to have a good game tonight and to continue that over streak. And then I really like what I've seen from Kevin Huerter. He's been shooting the ball really, really well. So I'll take over 2.5 made 3-pointers for him. He's 13-4 to the over on this play, including 6 out of his last 7 games. He's shooting 47.4% from threes this month. It's incredible because that's actually stepped down from what he was last month. He was over 50%. He's averaging 3.5 made 3-pointers a game. And I love his attempts. He's attempting well over 7 a game. So he's getting there by volume and by accuracy. Boston allows 6 3-pointers a game to opposing point and shooting guards. So I expect this to be a high-scoring game as the total indicates, and we only need 3 made 3-pointers from Kevin Huerter to cash this over. So give me Al Horford over his points and Kevin Huerter over his 3-pointers made.
Andy Lang looking at some over props in the overtime segment game. And Andy, I've always kind of thought, they don't necessarily adjust the props high enough because they do it based on seasonal averages. And when these high-scoring games come into play, you do find some value with over props. And that's definitely what the prop master, Andy Lang, is looking at tonight. Ralph, you and I have talked about this fact before also. The highest totals on the board often go over more times than not. There's a reason it's a big total. And here's a perfect example. They opened at 234.5, didn't open it high enough because now it's 238.5. Do you still think there's any value with the over tonight between the Kings and Celtics, or would you dare look at an under in this game?
I actually lean with the under. I by no means am getting to the window with it, but you look at Sacramento and that run they had in that winning streak. They shot 53% against Cleveland at home, a good defensive team. You play the Lakers, you shoot 52%. Then they had 4 more straight games at home. 51% against Golden State, 60% against Brooklyn, 58% against San Antonio, 55% against Detroit. But what happens? You're now on a road trip. You go to Memphis, you shoot 43%. That game went under by 13 points. You go to Atlanta, you shoot 46%. That game went under by 20 points. Now you're going to Boston. Boston is off back-to-back horrible defensive performances. In the loss to Chicago, they allowed 52% shooting, and they beat Dallas, but they allowed 54%. I think Boston's defense gets back in gear. Yes, the Celtics are 7-1 over-under at home, but I think we're going to start seeing them make a concerted effort here after a poor defensive performance. And this Kings team is 3-6 over-under as a dog. So, and Steve, people say, why do those high totals or low totals go under and the high totals go over? Just remember this. Vegas doesn't make a number that they think the game should be. Vegas wants to make a number where they're getting equal money on both sides. So if you think a total should be 242, there's no reason you put it at 242, because at 238 or 237, you're going to get equal monies. So that's why that sometimes the high doesn't have to be as high as it be, and the low never gets as low as it should be, because there's always those Joe Public people that say, oh, look at that total. It's under. Well, remember when we used to joke with the Pistons and the Bulls, the total was 70? I'm never going to bet a game under 170. Now I guess it's what, 200, where we would say, oh, my God, holy hell, NBA total of 200 or maybe even 210. I do like under here, though.
Yeah, Ralph, I remember last year, about 2 years ago, actually, I asked you to send me over the numbers on baseball totals 6.5 or lower. And going into the previous season, if you'd blindly played under 6.5 or less in every baseball game, you'd won money 7 out of 8 seasons on the blind. But now we see a ton of 6.5s, right? We even saw some 6s here, and it doesn't probably work as well. So you're right. Now that the NBA totals are routinely in the 230 range, I don't think it'll work as well going forward. This has become the new norm for the public. But you're right. If we ever see something below 200 this year, probably should load up on the under, because there's no way the public will want to play under 190, 200. And that's just how they roll. In fact, my NFL Fade the Public videos, there has not been a single public double-digit favorite in the video series yet this year. So, they like the obvious until it becomes too obvious, and then they shy away. So we'll see if this total is high enough or not. Ralph leans a little bit under now that it's moved 4 full points for the opener. And, of course, Andy Lang likes some over props that he mentioned as well between the Kings and Celtics tonight on Friday. All right, we gave you 3 games here on the Spotlight segment. Let's dig a little bit deeper and find some best bets now from these handicappers. And don't forget, WagerTalk.com, 7 days all sports for just $69. Look, a 3-day package is normally $59. You're getting an extra 4 days, more than 50% more for just $10 more. No promo code needed. You can use it unlimited times this weekend on Unlimited Cappers. Get Andy Lang's props. Get his number 1 ranked women's college basketball. Get Ralph Michaels' incredibly hot NFL. Get my incredible hot all sports 13-4 run the past week. Get all 3 of us, $69 each for 7 days. That's a tremendous value at WagerTalk.com. All right, Andy, let's start off the best bet segment. You know the drill. You get a 1-minute shot clock because we like to dribble around a little bit, give the viewers extra analysis as we set up our slam dunk. Andy Lang, 1 minute. The clock is yours.
Yeah, the best thing to do to take advantage of where we're running hot is to use that 7-day pass for $69. Women's college basketball 17-3. We're on a 12-3 run on these NFL 5% best bets. We're going to have another one on Sunday after cashing last night. So we've got some really, really good things. We have World Cup as well. Then we have NBA props and NHL props up for tonight. So for my best bet, I'm going to go with Anthony Davis over 11.5 rebounds. He has just been a rebounding machine recently. Here's his rebounding totals: 14, 18, 16, 18, and 21 in the last 5 games. He gets the Spurs tonight. They give up over 15 rebounds a game to centers, and he just played this team, and he had 18 against them. So LeBron is questionable right now, but even if LeBron plays, Davis should have absolutely no problem controlling this paint. Any shot that goes off the rim that's near the rim, Davis should gobble up. So give me him over 11.5 rebounds.
Count it. We're going to count it. I like it. A prop play for free here from the prop master, Andy Lang. Don't forget, he does do soccer as well. World Cup in full effect. Covers some USL. Great way to diversify your portfolio with Andy Lang. And Ralph Michaels, the stat daddy, the pin, the human database, the trifecta. Give us a free best bet here for the NBA tonight on Friday.
Well, you look at Portland, and why would anyone bet Portland with their 4 straight losses and a defense that has allowed over 50.6% in 5 out of 6 games? Well, I don't think the Knicks should be a favorite against anyone in this spot. Yeah, they're off a win against OKC, but I went to the database for this, Steve, and this is a system that has over several hundred plays since 2011, and it's cashing 61.2%. When a team is off at least 4 straight road games, they won the last one as a dog, they're at home, and their next game is at home. Those teams do not cover. You're off that long road trip, you get home, you try to get situated in front of your home fans. It's not a profitable situation. I am going to use that system. Fade New York. Best bet, Portland plus the points.
Fade the New York Knicks, says Ralph Michaels, and take the Portland Trail Blazers plus the points tonight. Currently plus 3.5. Open 5, down to 3.5. Portland on the money line, by the way, plus 140 if you dare for the outright win. Portland Trail Blazers from Ralph Michaels. And look, I'm hosting for Joe Raineri here. He normally is afraid to take a shot, guys. He doesn't want to dribble or take it to the hoop when he's hosting on this show. He does it on college basketball for some reason, but not here. But I will take a shot. So start the clock. We're going to look at a free play in the NBA tonight on Friday, November the 25th. Quick reminder, college football top 25 video will be up tonight on Friday. There are 3 huge matchups, including Michigan, Ohio State, which I give you for free in that video here. And also NFL Fade the Public Saturday afternoon on this channel as well. Hit subscribe, hit that bell for instant alerts when those videos go live this weekend. And don't forget also that All Sports 7 days for $69 special right now at WagerTalk.com. Or you can get the rest of November free with my December special. Full details on my page, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. 13-4 run All Sports over the past week. I do have a strong NBA best bet tonight, but let's look at a total here free for the show, and that's going to be the under 224.5 between the Pistons and the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix playing excellent defense the last couple of games, holding the Lakers and Knicks to 42 and 40% shooting. The Cade Cunningham-less Pistons will struggle tonight. Take under 224.5 Suns Pistons to get it done on Friday. Great show, guys. Joe Raineri will be back on Monday. Let's recap the best bets here, though, for Friday before we head to the weekend. The prop master, Anthony Davis, over 11.5 rebounds. Ralph Michaels says, fade the Knicks, take the Portland Trail Blazers plus the 3.5. And myself, Steve Merrill, says under 224.5 between the Pistons and Phoenix Suns, 9 o'clock Eastern tonight on Friday. Once again, 7 days, all sports for just $69. Andy Lang, the prop master, a great way to diversify soccer, women's college basketball, NFL, NBA props, UFC, etc. Ralph Michaels, red hot all year long in the NFL. Check him out over the weekend. College basketball expert, NBA, college football as well. And then once again, I'm Steve Merrill, 13-4 all sports run. Another great reason to get on board, 7-day all sports for just $69 at WagerTalk.com. Enjoy the weekend. Check out the weekend content here on WagerTalk TV. Download the WagerTalk TV app for your favorite mobile device. And check back on Monday for more NBA tip-off right here at 4:15 Eastern every Monday through Friday on WagerTalk TV. Thanks to our producer back in the studio. We'll talk to you again on Monday. Enjoy the weekend. Best of luck.
Whether you are a current WagerTalk TV subscriber, a fan of the extensive amount of free betting information we release, or a client of one of our incredible lineup of handicappers at WagerTalk or Sports Memo, we thank you. Thanksgiving is a holiday loaded with traditions, and we started one of our traditions years ago. Get a 7-day all sports all access from any handicapper for just $69. That's under $10 per day and just $10 more than a 3-day all access. So whether you're traveling, have a house full of relatives, or just sitting back relaxing with an incredible week of sports, you can do so with the convenience of a 7-day pass. There's no coupon needed, and you can choose as many services as you'd like. This Thanksgiving special will be available through Cyber Monday, November 28th, all for just $69. Thank you again for being part of the WagerTalk and Sports Memo family.